Hola guys and girls, and welcome to a new deck discussion video. This is a new deck. It's a rather new deck, like you can see right here. Only 4 games total, 3 wins, 1 losses, but it's a lot of fun. I'm talking about, like you can see on the top left, Farticus, this Shrewd Street Virtuoso, an actual English deck, and of course with a funny name, Farticus, Fart. You know, we all laugh about these kind of jokes, but yeah, of course it's the deck I have as well. I don't know if it's focusing correctly, but yeah, Farticus, the Street Virtuoso, one of my 2 newest decks I actually own. But it has one mechanic in Untamed, which I was looking for a lot in the deck. Like in total, I think I have now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 2 more I sold, so 9 decks in total I bought for Keyforge so far. But this is the first deck which has one of my favorite mechanics with Untamed. So I was very happy once I got that. But let's go over the cards and tell you what this deck can do and all this good stuff. So like you can see, the deck consists of this, Logos, Untamed. Of course, Logos like it a lot, Untamed like it a lot, this like it a lot. I mean, I like theme-wise, I like every faction barring Mars, but Mars had some good cards as well, so I guess you can't be, yeah, too picky about that. Like you can see right here, it has a 4 rare deck, so that's already nice, a bit more than the usual 2 rares or 3 rares. I got 3 on this side, 1 in the Untamed side, none in the Logos side, but yeah, let's go over the actual cards. First off, we got Fair Game. It's an action card. Play, discard the top card of your opponent's deck and reveal their hand. You gain 1 Aember for each card of this card's house revealed this way. Your opponent repeats the process effect on you. So this is a rare, and this is a very fun card. You have to play it in the right scenario though. The best scenario this to play is if you have a hand full of discards. Let's say you have 5 discards, including this, and 1 Logos card. You call this, you play all 4 discards, then you play Fair Game, and then even if you like this, for once there's a 30% chance, 33% chance it's an Untamed card you will reveal, then a 30% for Logos, and for this, so there's only a 30% chance that the opponent will gain an Aember, and if so, he will gain 1 Aember. On the other hand, your opponent, he has a full hand of 6 cards, at least, maybe more, depending on what he did before. And yeah, you can potentially gain a lot of Aember. I had some turns in this game where my opponent gained nothing, I get 5 Aember in 1 turn just through this card. So it's luck involved, but as long as you wait for the correct moment to play it, you will make a plus. Of course, it depends how much plus you make. I mean, you might end up giving your opponent more, like he has no cards for that house, but that's very unlikely. You have to kind of play the odds with this card, but it's a very fun one. And then you got Goozle. Nothing too special. You gain Aember, action card, deal 3 damage to a creature. It is not destroyed, it only discards at random from the card of your hand. So what I like about this card is the diversity. Like sometimes, like for example, your opponent has chains and only 5 cards in hands already. Then sometimes not killing a creature might be more useful for getting rid of a card on his hand, so he only has 4 cards in his hand, especially if he doesn't have a strong board. Then you usually want to make him discard a card so he can play. It has less options next turn and potentially can not do anything next turn, really, like with the cards on board, since he has to choose another house. And on the other hand, you can just do 3 damage to something and destroy it, which is great as well. And you gain Aember. So I like Goozle overall, a very versatile card. Then Terrors of Pain. Nothing too special there as well. You gain Aember, deal 1 damage to each creature, and if your opponent forges an Aember this turn, you deal 3 additional damage, so a total of 4. So it's a kind of a board wipe, depending. Like, you can get a lot of little creatures with that, with the 1 damage part, and if the opponent forges a key, it's basically a combat card. If you are not ahead in the game, this is a nice combat card. Your opponent forges a key, 4 damage to everything, and you gain Aember as well. So yeah, this card, it doesn't happen too often that I want to do the 4 damage to everything, and only 1 damage is sadly not enough to destroy most creatures. Like, it would be 2 damage to each creature. That would be great. That's a nice board wipe for all these 2 power creatures and stuff. But 1 damage is a bit on the low end, and whereas 4 damage is on the high end, where you sometimes don't want to do that depending on the board. So I'm a bit iffy on that card. But worst case scenario, you do 1 damage to everything and you get an Aember, so that's good as well. Then we got Dominator Bubble, artifact, use a friendly creature, very nice. I like this card. I like every time these cards, which allows you to use cards of a house, like you call this, but with this you can use like a Logos or an Untamed creature on the board. So I always like cards this, very straightforward. Then we got Letter of Broken Dreams, another artifact, key cost +3 during your opponent's next turn, so if you want to stall a little bit, you can make him cost 3 more. And I think these last actually the same on the Terrors of Pain, right? No, it's a difference. Different, goddammit. But either way, then you got Charette. Surfer as well, you play to capture 3, so some delaying there as well. So this is our Aember control on this side. Then we got a very fun, fancy card, the Eater of the Dead. 4 power, fight, purge creature from the opponent's discard pile. If you do, from a discard pile, doesn't even have to be your opponent's. If you do, put a +1 power count on Eater of the Dead. So for 1, of course, always to reap and fight, this potentially gets stronger, and this purge from the deck is so important, so nice, because especially if your opponent plays Logos, he will draw through his deck very quickly, And by purging cards, they are gone forever. They're not reshuffling in the deck. They can't get them back with like some Untamed cards which bring them back. So I'm more happy about the purging part than the powering up part. The powering up part is a nice plus, but being able to purge like regularly creatures on a regular basis is very nice. And he gets strong as well. 4 powers, nothing to scoff at. So yeah, each of that very fun card. Then of course you get Aember Imp, one of my favorite cards. Your opponent cannot play more than 2 cards each turn. That's a great card. If you can protect that. Sadly, only 2 power, so there are a lot of cards which do 2 damage, so it will destroy it. But if you can protect like for just 1 turn, it's already worth playing this card, because only playing 2 cards for your opponent, that's a very little and can limit your opponent to a lot of different plays. Then we got Overlord Geeking, the card with a very nice combo in this deck, but I will talk about it once I see the other card for this combo. So 7 power, very strong creature. After an enemy creature is destroyed fighting Overlord Geeking, put that creature into play under your control. So this, first of all, this is not a fight effect. That means even if my opponent attacks him, that would happen. But similar to fight effects, he has to survive. So most likely you can maybe you can get maximum. I would say you can get 3 2-power creatures, like 3 small creatures you can take with that. But again, the maximum I got of it was 2 creatures I could overtake, because of course once this is on the field, the opponent will be very careful to play creatures, and me not allowing to take them. Sadly, you're most likely, you can get control of them, but they don't change house. So, let's say you get control of the Mars creature, you actually can't use it, since you only have this Logos and Untamed. You could call Mars, but then you can only use this creature and stuff like that. So, this kind of helps, the Dominator Bubble, because that, once again, even if you get a Mars creature, and you, like say, only have Logos, Untamed, this, you can still use that creature. So, but yeah, sometimes you have to be careful which creatures to take, because using them will be difficult. I mean, at least you get rid of them for the opponent, so that's a plus. But if you want to make the full out of this card, you have to basically attack creatures, either this, Logos, Untamed. Then we got Tentacles. The opponent must pay you in order to use an artifact. It's 5 power, pretty strong creature as well. These creatures in this are actually pretty strong in that. I'm not used to that, but yeah, very nice card as well. Especially it says on text, it's versus artifact heavy decks. Many times opponents forget that this is on the field and they use the artifact, and then they have to pay you one. So that happens to be a lot, especially in online play where the card is not that big on the field. Like, it keeps using artifacts and keep losing Aember, and I don't think people are already aware that because of Tentacles they're losing Aember all the time. Sadly, it's only for using, not for playing, so your opponent can still play his artifacts, but if he wants to use them, he has to pay you an Aember. So yeah, great versus a lot cards with a lot of artifacts. And they got the Terror, great first round card, 5 power, once again a strong creature, and play if your opponent has no Aember, you gain 2 Aember. So if you play this, you gain 2 Aember right from the start and have a +5 creature here. And yeah, after your opponent forged the key, that's of course nice as well, but yeah, overall, it's a situational card as well, because there's really not a lot of scenarios in the play where the opponent has no Aember, especially since this deck, most Aember control it has, like you could play a Charette, capture all the Aember, then play Tentacles. That's like the best you can do, but since there's no Shadow or anything else stealing in this deck, basically you have to wait for your opponent to himself get to 0 Aember to make the use of that. But anything other than that, it's still a 5 power creature. And then we got Toxine, another discarding card. I like these a lot. These are very heavily focused. Like, I mean, I guess this gets focused more by the opponent, but this is a card which gets focused next always, because they don't want to lose cards in their hand. Like I said, if the opponent already has chains for other cards, discarding is such an awesome effect. And yeah, 3 power creature. So it's over the 2 power threshold, which is very important. And yeah, gets you an Aember and the opponent's cards. Very straightforward as well. So now, going to the Logos card. Of course, the strongest Aember control card right here is this here, 1 Ever Sent Principle. Each player loses half of their Aember, rounding down the loss, gaining 1 chain. So of course you lose the half as well, but usually you play this, of course, when your opponent has a lot of Aember and you already have a very little amount, and then you can make them lose half of it, which is very great. This is like the best Aember control in the deck. I have Turret as well, but yeah, without Shadow you have to kind of look where your Aember control lies. We got Sloppy Lab Work. Archive a card, discard a card, gives you an Aember as well. So this basically gets rid of 3 cards in your hand, which might be good if you want to draw basically a new hand and want to get rid of a lot of them, like because you play Sloppy Artwork, that's -1. You archive a card, that's -1 again, and you discard a card, so better than -3. But so just by calling Logos, playing Sloppy Artwork, you already can draw 3 more cards at the end of the turn, which might be, depending on your hand, if you like your hand is crap, that is a very great card to have in your hand. And then Triple Emission, you already know that one. Very straightforward, give you an Aember, do 2 damage to 2 creatures. Sadly, you have to do the 2 damage, so sometimes you have to do 2 damage to yourself if you only have 1 target on your opponent's side. But other than that, great card. Layer of the Bubble, it's an artifact, action, draw a card, very straightforward. Every time you call Logos, you can draw an extra card, which is great. And you actually see that a lot of my, like I have other cards in Logos right here, which make me draw some cards. But then you got the Bat Drone, some more Aember control with stealing. This sadly only has 2 power, so usually it gets destroyed very quickly. I don't actually think I could attack with this once. Every time I played it, the opponent immediately destroys it since he didn't want to lose his Aember. So yeah, that's sad, but theoretically, that's some more Aember control. Then we got Dr. Escotero, 4 power creature play, gain 1 Aember for each forge key your opponent has. So if you just wait for 1 key, you can gain 1 Aember, which is good. But if you can gain 2 Aember through that, that's actually a great card. Just gaining 2 Aember just by playing is very awesome. Of course, in the first few turns, this is only a 4 power creature. Still, of course, nothing to scoff at, but yeah, you want to play it at least to gain 1 Aember. And I got 2 of those, so potentially there's some great Aember generating shenanigans with this guy. Then we got the Ganymede Archivist, archive a card. The problem there as well, you have to archive a card, so sometimes you don't want to, but you want to reap, and you still have to archive a card, so I would prefer it if it's you may archive a card, but since you have to, that's a bit annoying sometimes, but most of the times you want to archive a card when you read this, because archiving is always great. Then we got 2, Quixo the Adventurer, and I fell in love with this card. Skirmish and fight, draw a card. First of all, it's 3 power, so it's over the 2 power threshold, so it's not that easily destroyed. And every time I call Logos, I have Quixo, I basically both on the field. I can do 6 damage or something without him getting something returned, since he has Skirmish, so if he attacks, he doesn't get damage. And you get to draw a card, then you have Library as well, so you draw 3 cards in total, and yeah, your turns just explode through that. Or you can set up for an insane turn after that. And then we got 2 Titan Mechanics, white Titan Mechanic on the flank, each key costs -1, you know that card, so in total I can make keys only cost 4 of these cards, but of course for the opponent as well. Strong feature other than that as well, but since you can control when it's on the flank and when not, I like this card a lot, especially with now the Untamed part, which I think like the Untamed part is the strongest, then this part, and then the Logos part. But yeah, let's go over the Untamed part. This was like the main reason I like this deck, and I wanted to play this deck because the cards in this section right here. So let's start with Full Moon. Play for the remainder of the turn, gain 1 Aember for each creature you play. So very straightforward. This is a great card for the Untamed Aember Rush attempt, which this actually is, because before that I had Untamed decks which go like with strong creatures, or like the Beast with Niffle Queen and all this good stuff, but I like the Aember Rush attempt more, and these has some nice cards for that. First of all, Full Moon action card, you play this, and for each creature you play this turn, you can gain 1 Aember. What I like to do a lot with this deck is to archive this with either the Sloppy Artwork or the Ganymede Archivist, and then keep it for like a strong Untamed turn. But there's some more cards for this as well. Then you got Lost in the Woods, very great removal from Untamed. First of all, you get an Aember, and then choose 2 friendly creatures and 2 enemy creatures. Shuffle each chosen creatures into the opponent's deck, or into their decks. My go, of course, into mine. For 1, if you don't have any creatures, you don't have to choose 1 for you, so you can just get rid of 2 of the opponent's side. And if you have cards like Dr. Escotero, for example, which have play effects, you get to shuffle them back into the deck, and you can play them at a later point again, so you can use the effect again. So that is great as well. Then you got Save the Pack. Once straight removal, destroy each damaged creature, gain 1 chain. So that's a board wipe. Most of the times I'm discarding that because I usually my card I destroy as well. I have the board advantage since I have a good amount of creatures actually. I can see I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 creatures in Logos, and then I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 creatures in this, and I have actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 creatures in Untamed. So I have a lot of creatures. Usually I'm the one with the board advantage in this deck. So most of the times I don't want to play it, but of course it's nice to have straight board wipe in addition to Tendrils of Pain, which is more situational than Save the Pack, because you can use the Untamed creatures to do damage to the opponent, and then you can basically just see which cards you want to destroy. Then we got Vigor, gains an Aember, heal up to 3 damage from a creature. If you heal 3 damage, gain another Aember, so you gain 2 Aember if you heal 3 damage. Sometimes you even want to heal the opponent's creatures to gain the 2 Embers, but other than that, just a great card, heals and gains a gift up to 2 Aember. Then one very important card in this deck is Shota Hazri. Play, lose 1 Aember. If you do, you may forge a key at current cost. That's a great card. There's an action card which does the same in Untamed, but Shota Hazri is just better because it's a free creature as well. And that's a great card you want to shuffle in with Lost in the Woods as well, again, just to forge a key. Forge a key in your own turn is great, and the only cost basically is to lose 1 Aember. And at current cost, that means if you have Titan mechanics on the flank, the costs are reduced by 1, so that already changes this. And let's say you play Full Moon, then you play Shotahashi, you gain an Aember for playing them, so you don't lose 1, and you can just forge a key. So that's a very important card in this deck too, like, just forge a key. I saw a lot of games, like real life and online, where people discard this because they can't forge anytime soon. But once I see these cards, I always keep it in my hand. I either archive it or I keep it in my hand. I'm not getting rid of that. That's so good to forge key in your own turn, because that's just, usually your opponent has 1 turn time to get rid of some of your Embers, like some Ember control, be it capturing, stealing, or something like that. But if you forge your own key, you can just win in that turn, and your opponent can do nothing about it. There's no cards Keyforge which you can play at your opponent's turn. So that's awesome, especially some other cards in this deck. Then we got the Do Fairy, elusive, so you have to attack it twice to kill it. Sadly, only 2 power, and if you reap, you gain 1. So basically, if you reap, you get 2 Aember instead of 1. So yeah, you always want to reap with that. Then we got Fluxia, 1 great card because gain 2 Aember if you control more creatures than your opponent. First of all, I have a lot of creatures in this deck, so usually I do have more. And like, let's say I play Full Moon and then I play Fluxia, that means I actually gain 3 Aember. So that's great. I gain 3 Aember, then I play Shotahashi next turn recording, as next creature, gain another Aember, and basically, with the Untamed side, you have the potential to, in 1 turn, go from 0 Aember to a key in the same turn. So that's why I like this side of the so much. Then you got Snufflegator, Unlisted format, 4 power, skirmish, nothing too really special, but then we have 2 Hunting Witches. Hunting Witch, each time you play another creature, you gain Aember. Yes, it's the same effect from Full Moon, but as a creature. So basically, best case scenario, you play Full Moon, you play 1 Hunting Witch, you play another Hunting Witch, then you play Fluxia, you gain 5 Aember, 2 because you have more creatures, 1 for Full Moon, 1 for Hunting Witch, 1 to another Hunting Witch. Then you play Shotahashi, gain another 3 Aember, and you get Forge a Key, and then you still have Aember left over. And you already got 1 Aember from the second Hunting Witch because of the first Hunting Witch. So either way, you know what I'm talking about. That's the Aember Rush attempt, for, Aember Rush mechanic of Untamed, which some cards have. You just play them, you gain a lot of Aember, and then you can forge it in the same turn. Great card, great cards here. And then you got Way of the Bear. His creature gains Assault 2, pretty straightforward. Gives an Aember as well, and some card gets Assault 2, which is nice since I have a lot of creatures, and so I have a good amount of creatures with the fighting effect, like the Quicksilver Adventurer. So with skirmish as well. So I attack them, get 2 damage, can do 5 damage, and draw a card. But one card I actually forgot. I see. I did go over Scout right here. Scout, very nice card. This is the card I was talking about with the combo with the Overlord. Scout gives you 1 Aember as action card. For the remainder of the turn, up to 2 friendly creatures gain skirmish. Then fight with creatures 1 at a time. For once, that of course allows you as well to change creatures out of house. So I can call Untamed, play Scout, gain an Aember, then choose Overlord Geeking on the field. He gains skirmish, and I can fight with him and get control of an opponent's creature. That's very nice. I can do the same with the Eater of the Dead, activate its fight ability, do the same with Quicksilver Adventure, activate its fight ability, all this good stuff. I love Scout in this deck since there's a lot of cards with fight abilities and just using cards out of house, and it's basically you can get free damage because your creatures get skirmish. So even like my Titan mechanic, which usually would get damage in return, doesn't, and it's 6 damage for free on something. Of course, you need the creatures on the field, and they need to be ready since this card doesn't ready the creatures, so they have to be ready. You can't use an exhausted creatures and ready it again and then fight. They have to be ready already. But if you choose creatures outside of the house Untamed, they're usually ready at that turn, barring your opponent did something. So all these creatures I have on this side, I can use a Scout and get some free damage and some additional effect with like the Adventure, for example, or the Overlord or the Eater of the Dead, stuff like that. But yeah, that's the full deck. Like I said, a lot of creatures. I love the Untamed side. I was looking for a deck which has the potential to do that for a long time. Then the Logger side gets me a lot of cards, gets me a lot of card draw in the Titan mechanics and the Evasis principle, which is important. And then this side has a lot of strong creatures, like we have the Terra, we have Tentacles, we have Overlord Geeking, we have Eater of the Dead, and then some annoying stuff like Charette and Aember Toxin. So overall, I like this deck. Like I said, did not play too much offline with it yet. Online I did play a little bit with it, but we of course do that a little more with the upcoming gameplay videos. But yeah, that's all from me. I hope you did enjoy this deck discussion. Let me know what you think about this deck. Did I miss a combo which I didn't go over? Let me know what you think. But yeah, that's all for me. I will see you another time. Ciao.